Not everyone is going to agree with you, and that's okay. Standing on controversial lines. Not an easy one, is it? So I thought just this topic really came to me this like last week or so because we're going to be heading into the biggest season for backyard farmers, and that is dealing with people who don't agree with the way that you do things and having to learn how to handle it and sometimes just walk away. And that can be the hardest thing to do. So bear with me. I am just getting over some sickness and yeah, I'm not even fully there yet, but we got to get this out here because you guys need some help with this. I know that. I have gotten questions about it, email, all the things. So let's get rolling. All right, no matter what you do, whether you make a product, whether you raise an animal, whether you are an educator, whether you write ebooks, blog posts, even, or even just silly social posts, that someone might see something in a picture that they don't maybe agree with, and it can start a complete, keyboard warrior, battle going on in the comments, and we've all seen it. And this past week also, I jumped in and helped someone in a rabbit breeders Facebook group, and she was her first time litter. She was having issues and all the things. And so I ended up inviting her to my inbox and was like, we can talk about this in private if you want. And so in there, I was like, people are hesitant because no one else answered her. So that was the main reason that I did that. Because, like people are just hesitant. They don't want to get into those battles anymore. Um, Someone woke up from his nap. Hey there, old man. What are you doing? Hi. I gotta record this, okay? Excuse you. Lovely. But I had helped her, and she just didn't understand. Like she hadn't been in this online game for a while or for very long, and so even when it comes to just questions, people are a little hesitant to answer that stuff because no one can agree to disagree anymore. And so that's what I want to help you with today, whether it's in person or on your own personal Facebook pages, in a group, whatever. So the first thing you need to grasp is that if it's not hurting, and this is if it's something that you maybe don't agree with, but also, like I already said, people are not always going to agree with you, and that's okay. But number one, obviously, if it's not illegal, there's nothing they can do to really hurt you or make you stop, right? So we immediately get afraid when someone doesn't agree with us, thinking they're just going to, turn us in or get in trouble or whatever. But if your animals are fed, they have shelter, there's nothing legally anyone can do about it. Obviously you're not using a fighting ring or whatever, but you get what I'm saying. It's like you're caring for them. That's what you're obligated to do. It doesn't matter if someone has different opinions than you. And the same turnaround is too, if if you don't agree with that someone has rabbits outside or inside, it's none of your business. And so like if it's one of those things where it doesn't matter how they do it as long as the animal is cared for, ignore it, roll with it. Also know that people can't come back and get you with it either. Like, sure, they may not agree with you. And so that's what we're going to get into is how to handle that. So the first way that you can do that and really work on your confidence is having your reason for doing that thing. So one of the main, well, I've got like several. And so, but one of the main things that I will not change is having my rabbits on wire. And so that's a big thing that people just don't like. And I've got multiple reasons for why it's healthier for them to be on wire. And I also have reasons for, like, if a rabbit has issues with it and why they shouldn't and all those things. So I don't really want to get into that just because it's going to take a long time. But one of the main reasons is that it gets the waste away from them immediately rather than leaving that like wet humid air around them to breathe it and can cause respiratory infections. So when rabbits have breathing issues and stuff, they're basically done, right? I mean, like it's not good if they get any kind of respiratory issue. So, and it's very contagious to other ones too. So, I have multiple reasons for me doing that. And so having your reason that you can confidently say, this is why, and why I think this is better, that's going to allow you to be able to state your reason once to the person who's disagreeing with you or whatever, and let it go at that, okay? All right, so I kind of alluded to this already, but the reason that it's important for you to have your reasons for backing it up, or the reasons that you do things, is that for one, you are going to stand out to other people. You're going to be that person that stands out a little bit differently. Now, I don't recommend, picking something off the wall just to stand out. No. But when you have those things that you do for a reason and you're willing to stand by it, people will remember that. And so that makes you stand out. And also, even if the person doesn't agree with you, they're going to respect you for being able to stand up for the things that you truly believe in that are the right way to do things. And, like I get, I don't know, probably 50% of the people who buy my rabbit each year, even more probably, are most likely keeping them inside. I do not think that that is the healthiest thing for the rabbit at all. Like, it's kind of sad, but a lot of people will come back to me and are like, oh, my rabbit died, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, these pillows, the couches, the baseboards, all of those things, they chew on that and eat it. Your house is the most toxic place and the most dangerous place for your rabbit to live and to have free roam in. And so it's just too dangerous. And so that's why I constantly am like, mine are outside. I encourage outside. It's up to you to listen to me or not. And so that's ultimately it. It's just knowing your reasons, and that will give you the confidence to stand up for your reasons. And if you know them well enough and you are able to constantly be pushing that, because I post on it, that kind of thing, one to the Rabbitry waitlist email list, and also on the Facebook page. Like, I say these things regularly. So, and it's even on the page where they go to, find out more about the rabbits and stuff. So it's up to them. Like, I've done the educating part. I've done the part that I can do. It's up to them. Okay? So when you are able to do that on your platforms and on your website and all of those things, you do the education, you have a clear mind. You have done exactly what you can do. That's it, right? All right, so in the actual real life instances, what do you do? So let's assume you get a comment that, was either snarky or someone just didn't agree. Getting more and more of those these days, and it's nerve wracking. You see that, and your emotions immediately go like, and so walk away. That's all I'm gonna say. Walk away for the first 12 to 24 hours. Unless it's like in a messenger bot kind of thing where you can see that that message has been seen, they don't know that you've seen it yet. You don't owe someone a response in 24 hours, okay? And here's why I think you shouldn't always just delete them. If the person is vulgar and just being attackative and all of that stuff, then yeah, you don't owe them anything. Delete it. But the reason I think answering some of them calmly is good is because, back to the point that I made before, the people are going to see that you responded with kindness and with a firm answer. You didn't back down and tell them that they are right or that you're going to change the way you do it because they got mad. No. The people are still seeing that you stand for what you think and what you believe, and they can see those answers. Maybe someone else had those questions, but they didn't have the nerve to ask you, right? So maybe they could have done it in a little better way, but they didn't, excuse me, they didn't, ask you. And so then that person, being a little bold, stated those things, and then they can see your answers. And so that also gives you another level of respect because the person interacted with you here, but you took it up to here with your response level and just standing confident in the way that you respond to that person, okay? So I think it's good to, type out an answer and then put it in a note section. I am a huge proponent. I love Trello. That's just going to be the hell I die on. They've done some great updates here recently. So have, that board or a little card that can be your responses section, and just be type this out. Let's sit with it for a couple hours and then go back and read it and be like, if I am calm in reading this, how does this sound? If you want to have someone else read it, you can. I think learning to handle things on your own is a good thing, because people are not always going to be around. You have to learn to handle things on your own. And so Now, moving on to if someone is in person and they don't agree with you, or you are immediately like getting red flags. Um, and again, this one is going to go back to if it doesn't matter, honestly, how they do it. You may not agree with it, but it doesn't really matter. Once the animal leaves your property, you cannot control how someone does something, right? So, a perfect example is one where I met a lady who, and I've talked about it before, where it was basically bad behavior. She was thinking it was funny or cute. And I, I was in shock a little bit, for one, because we expect very good behavior from all of our animals outside the chickens. We don't tolerate ill behaved roosters, like down to the what we would consider dumbest animal that we have, um, they all are required to behave. And so, expressing dominant behavior or biting or nipping, absolutely not. And so I was like, she thinks this is funny, or cute or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to like collect myself, not really listen to what she was saying for a minute. And I'm standing face to face with this woman at the back of my truck, like when she was picking up the rabbit, right? So, there's not a whole lot of time for thinking. So I'm like, okay, she clearly is not going to agree with you. So I had to just be like, state my reasons once for why I did not think that was a good thing. She couldn't grasp it. And that was her business. Like, she thought it was cute. You want to live with a nasty, snotty rabbit that's going to nip at you to get things? Fine. And so eventually I just had to stop talking. And so you state your reasons once for the reasons you do things or why something is an issue, and then stop talking. Like, if that person is just continuing to defend themselves for that reason, and if they stop talking and kind of like you're trying to end the conversation a little bit or move on to another subject and just be like, that's your choice. You want to live that way with your animals? That's fine. That's all you have to say. You don't have to get them to come to your side. You don't have to come to their side. Calmly stating those things. And I know it can be really hard, especially when you're stressed, to keep your voice calm. But when someone can hear that tone and they can hear that you're getting stressed, it can kind of cause them to have to feel like they have to defend themselves again. And so, even though you may not have tried to come on to them as an attack or as like a, well, you're wrong kind of attitude, nervous is better than aggressive, but if you can still hide it, that's going to be the best way to go about it. Okay. So just state, like I said, state what you said once or what you think of that situation once. Let them ramble on for as long as you need to. But it's when that cutoff, when you stop them, you're almost telling them that what they have to think or have to say isn't valid, and that's going to cause them to get defensive. Okay. So just let it go. Stop talking. Wait till they're done, and then just end the conversation. Let's take this one more step into being, what if someone is being slightly more aggressive? And so, or perhaps they are doing something that you're like, that is just not right, kind of a thing. You as the rabbit, or not rabbit raiser, but you as the animal raiser or product seller have the right to refuse a sale. Um, have good reasons for it, because guaranteed that person's not going to be happy, and so you better be able to withstand the repercussions of your consequences or of your actions, right? So be prepared for a bad email, be prepared for a bad review on your Facebook page. You can't get rid of those. Like nasty comments, like evaluate, is it worth potentially the repercussions of just telling this person never mind. um, Another good reason or a good thing to have your business bank account, whether you make $500 a year off your small farm, you need to have the money separated so that, I'm not going to get down that whole trail there, but so that your money for the farm is separate and like financially how healthy your farm is. And so always have a certain amount set back so that you can just give the person their money and say, I don't think this is a good fit, give them their money back and move on. Um, you can try and educate them, but you don't have to stand there and take their abuse either. And so if someone is being very loud and not letting you speak, again, go back to the saying nothing. They can't argue with anyone who's not saying anything. They're going to run out of stuff to say for a minute. And so usually these people who are like aggressive and bossy, it's just they were allowed to throw temper tantrums and that's always gotten them results. And so that's what they're trying to do. I still encourage you, never give in to them, because you get run over once, they're going to do it again to someone else. And maybe perhaps they have some validation to their argument of some degree, then do what you can to fix it and move on. Like, everyone has had those oops moments where, like, ugh, I got this wrong. Or, like, there was one time that I did end up sexing a rabbit wrong. And so telling the gender was wrong. And so I had to take that animal back, give the person their money back. And that was like 10 years ago or something. It was a long time. I wasn't that good at it yet. And so, like, telling the gender of a rabbit is not easy, for sure. And so now, pretty confident in it. But, like, early on, it can get tough. And so be willing to make up for it, too. Okay? All right, so I hope this was helpful for you in just standing on those controversial lines that are meaningful to you, and they will help you become more known and become that person, that standout person that you need to be to build the trust of your audience. Okay? I hope this is helpful for you, and I'll see you next time.